Now, Western Australia is having a state election soon, and RDA wanted to give viewers a chance to see another perspective, smaller parties, independents, people like that. So, Michelle, that's why I'm talking to you. Tell me what you're about.
So my name's Michelle Kinsella. I'm a candidate for Albany for the upcoming 2021 election. It'll be here in March on the 13th. I'm sitting in a regional seat. I've decided to sit in the regions because I think we need more representatives in the regions. Everything in WA is really focused on the city. It's very metro focused. So I've decided to stand with One Nation. There's a few reasons behind that, because I have been asked that many times, why One Nation? And basically, I chose the party after meeting the Senator Malcolm Roberts in Canberra in 2019. After that, I went on to get to know the WA party. They're strong. They are made up of good people. The leader is also a member of parliament. We've got 2 members of parliament already here in Perth. So hopefully for this upcoming election, if we can get some lower house candidates, upper house candidates in, what that'll do is actually just balance out the power. So neither Labor nor Liberal will be able to have like a dictatorship in the House. And that is what that has been happening. So we're feeling very positive. There are quite a few candidates that have put their hands up. We've got 6 in the upper house, which is the maximum amount that you're allowed for candidates, and we've got 25 sitting in the lower house. Now, we haven't gone for bulk numbers this time because what we're doing, we're going more for quality of candidate. So the whole idea is get to know your candidate, whether it's a One Nation candidate, an independent, get to know your candidate because that's who you're voting for. That's who's going to stand up and represent you. I chose to get into politics because basically I was living overseas, returned here in 2017, and I was quite shocked at what I witnessed, not only in terms of health, education, but the government and our democracy and our freedoms that were slowly, definitely being eroded. So that concerned me. And I decided rather than just sit back and have a bit of a complaint and a bit of a whinge, I would put my hand up and say, well, actually, if you vote for me as your representative, I'll help make sure everybody gets a fair go. And I think holding this government to account, especially with what's happened, in the last 48 hours, is absolutely essential.
So, Michelle, I'm going to ask everyone in Western Australia that I interviewed this one question. Mm-hmm. If you were Premier today, what would you do?
Okay, well, for starters, I wouldn't be making any rash decisions, because when you make these decisions, you're affecting tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives in a heartbeat. I definitely wouldn't have gone for the shock and awe approach that we saw on Sunday. That created a great deal of panic. I would be expanding where I'm getting my information from. I wouldn't be looking at just one chief health medical officer. I'd really make sure that we have a whole panel of independent experts that could work together independently, free from any conflicts of interest, to give great advice across the board, and advice as well that is independent from industry. What we're seeing is a lot of industry-funded lobbyists influencing politicians. That's something I'm well aware of. So I guess basically I'd be taking my time, having a look at actually what eventuates from this case, and I'd be looking at all of the data. We've got so much science now it's been nearly a year. There's been a lot of evidence collected, and I'd be looking at all of that. I wouldn't just be having, a strong reaction right in the here and the now. I'd be looking at all of the evidence and considering the impact on people's lives. I mean, we saw tens of thousands of children the day before they have to start school be absolutely disrupted. The emotional trauma, the fallout for the families. I mean, I had hundreds of phone calls on Sunday. I literally had to sit back and just send a message and say, I'm not ignoring everybody. Just give me a minute to get back to you. People were thrown in turmoil. I wouldn't do that to the people of Western Australia, that's for sure.
Yes, that's great. Now, if you were to have a 30-second sales spiel about yourself and the One Nation Party in Western Australia, how would you concisely say that?
30 seconds. Okay, go. So for me, I'm a very strong woman. I'm very independent. I consider myself quite a conservative, but with a strong moral compass. And I think it's time for change. We've had enough of professional politicians that are intergenerational. They have conflicts of interest. I mean, the level of corruption that goes on in Parliament, I'm not sure why nobody's talking about it, but it is huge. So I think people should vote for me because I'm going to represent the community. We have a saying in One Nation, that's people before politics. Albany people will always come first for me. The party will always come second. And that's what's different about One Nation as well. A lot of parties, you've got to toe that party line. I get to sit as an independent within the party. So my job is really to represent the people of Albany. I'm passionate, I'm brave, and I'm intelligent as well. And I've got a lot of common sense, which I think is sadly lacking in some politicians nowadays.
Yes, I think it's not very common, unfortunately. If someone wants to research more about you and the party, how would they do that?
Sure, well, I've got a Facebook page. I do have reduced distributorship by Facebook. They were kind enough to send me a little note to let me know that. I also have a webpage, and that's kinsella.onenationwa.org.au. And you can reach out, send me a PM. Great. And I'll get back to you and sign you up for my mail newsletter as well that I've got going out now.